You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
When you're called by destiny, you begin a great journey. So make sure you're dressed for success with Coruscant Cloth's finest Jedi robes. Tailored to you, our soft, strong yet breathable robes will be with you as you progress from Padawan to Master. Durable and comfortable, our Jedi robes come with a lifetime's guarantee. Whether learning about the Force or on an important diplomatic mission, our robes will surround you in timeless, simplistic design perfection. Available in calming, contemplative natural colors and fibers to keep you warm in the depths of space, including brown, beige, light brown, and dark beige. Be prepared for your Jedi journey with Coruscant Cloth. And may the Force be with you.
Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Adam and I am the GM and you're joining us for episode 21 of the Coldfire Chronicles. I am joined around the table by...
Hi, I'm Mikey. I play Daverin. He's a Chiss Mystic Advisor. His emotional strength is his enthusiasm, and his emotional weakness is his recklessness.
Hi, I'm Mim. I'm playing Lassa. She's a human sentinel artisan. Her emotional strength is her curiosity. Her emotional weakness is her obsession.
Hi, I'm Ed Fortune, and I play the character of Oberon Brick, who is a human hunter-seeker. His emotional strength is justice, and his emotional weakness is cruelty.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Agatha, a Morailan warrior aggressor, whose emotional strength is his pride, but whose weakness is his anger.
And before we get started with today's episode, do we have a question for our characters?
We do. Agatha has a question, which is going to be handled on the walk towards this Jedi temple to our friend Vitaara. And he's asking this in a slightly shuffled, not quite a boy asking a girl out and with a foot shuffling against the floor, but, trying to get the words. Could you tattoo me?
I did wonder that you don't seem to have progressed your history upon your skin of late. Of course, I do have the capabilities. What would you like? What would you like done?
Agatha has been through many struggles recently, and would like to mark them. Starting with, yes, the one where I killed a Wookiee.
I'm sorry?
We rejoin our heroes outside the buried Jedi temple in a crystal-studded cavern in Alpinn as the doors have creaked open, revealing beyond them an antechamber. The floor is the same kind of greyish stone as the doors, as the walls, as the rock structure itself. There are runes engraved in the floor. They are swirling kind of curlicues and geometric shapes rather than any recognisable alphabet. And there are 5 doors leading out of this chamber. Behind each door is darkness. The room is lit by the light of the crystals coming in and a strange kind of diffuse-ish, whitish light, just enough to see by.
Well, this looks nice.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Do we have to hold Vitaara back?
Oh, she has started walking straight into the chamber and getting Sally to take pictures, take records.
Sally has floated up to get a good vantage point and you can hear her little apertures clicking away, taking taking holopic.
As Vitaara steps in, Daverin steps in as well. It's almost like it's exactly like he doesn't want you to be in front and in the danger. If we're going to be facing any danger, we all face the danger. So as you step in, he's stepping in, but he's stepping very lightly and just looking round as you are in awe, but he doesn't really know what he's seeing. There's no real context, but other than that, it is just waiting for something to happen.
I put my hand on Daverin.
Mm-hmm.
I extend myself to the living force, and I'd like to attempt to sense.
Okay, roll me your force die.
I have 4 force points.
Light side, dark side?
All light side.
Okay, 4 light side points.
I'd like to spend them all to count, to sense, and see who is in the temple. I want to get a feel for people and their emotional state.
Okay. You cast your senses out. The only identifiable living energies that you can feel are from those of you gathered in this antechamber. So the four of you cast Vitaara and Pyjak. Pyjak is, again, it's anxiousness, it's anticipation, it's trepidation, equal parts kind of fear and excitement from him.
Is there anything blocked? Can I sense a blocking in directions?
No, but you can... It feels like this temple is alive. There is a consciousness all around you, but you can't get a read on it other than that you are aware that you are being weighed.
It's watching us.
Well, that's only fair that we're watching it.
It's alive.
That's only fair, so are we.
I can only sense it, but it's so loud. It's so loud. I can't... If it wasn't for the fact that you're all right next to me, I couldn't see...
Is it like looking at the forest while standing next to a tree?
Yes.
Okay.
There might be other people here, but it's so loud, and it's so clear, and it's more than one song. It's watching us, and it's weighing our hearts.
You can tell while you're doing this, and you've got 4C on, everything you say, Jiren's really excited.
Yeah, so what is everyone else's mental state? Kind of what's your core emotional state at the moment?
I'll start with Jiren, seeing as we were talking about it. Oh, he's very excited. There's no fear. It's like Life Day presence. It is. It's that kind of something is gonna happen. Oh, he's giddy.
Agatha's quite wary at the moment. He's at an emotional point where his own force power is sort of getting a little bit beyond his own control, because it's giving him a lot of power, but it's also not powerful enough to deal with everything that's coming across. But he's also realising everybody else around is having power, and they're really starting to embrace that power, and this is in that other territory. So he's not sure what he's walking into at the minute. It's not necessarily going to be a physical threat that he can punch.
Lassa feels far more in tune with Vitaara. She's interested, she's looking round a little cautiously. She's kind of spending more time looking at the floor, looking for signs of someone else being here, because that's one of the key things that we're looking for, is a sign of Coldfire. As far as her head goes, she's not particularly interested in this Jedi thing. She's heard a bit about the Jedi in the past, and she's not really wanting to be linked to anything, particularly with this temple. So if she can feel an underlying forciness, she's not particularly bothered or engaged or excited about it. She's more interested in the Force as an abstract thing separate from Jedi or Sith. She's been quite curious about this other way. So at the moment it's Jedi stuff. It's nothing to do with her. She's not engaged with it on a personal level. It's still academic interest. We've got a purpose.
Vitaara, there is joy here, but it's the joy of discovery, the joy of seeing something new. Her whole being is focused around finding things out, discovering old lost things, and you get the feeling that she's never been in a Jedi temple before. So once again, much like Jiren, there is that excitement, but it's slightly more restrained than his. She's not letting it, she feels it, but she's controlling it.
So, because I'm getting these feelings, you have no idea how I'm feeling, but there is a look on everyone's face that the party you've seen before, which is it's on. I'm going to find something, and I am going to take its trophy.
Interestingly, there is no dust on the floor. There are no visible tracks. This place is pristinely clean. There's just these doors, with no hint or suggestion as to which one you need to go through.
Jiren cracks his glow rod, and a warm yellow light kind of emanates from it.
It's caught by the crystals that are still kind of in the walls and in the runes, and magnified slightly, filling the room with a diffuse yellowish light.
Okay, there are doors.
Agatha's going to use that hand scanner of his just to see whether there's anything he can use with that. And pick him with that, but...
The air is breathable. The temperature is temperate. There are no discernible airborne toxins. That's about it.
Yep.
It's struggling to get a reading. Now you're inside, because when you were outside and Lassa was using her hand scanner, it's the same make as yours, and it could give her a bit of a breakdown about the composition of the stone. In here, it tells you that it's stone, but it can't give you any kind of idea what stone it is. And as you're all now into this antechamber, the doors very, very quickly close behind you.
Oh, I do hope you can open those again.
Jiren doesn't even flinch. He's not worried at all. He just nods.
When you say close behind us, behind which of... I mean, is there anybody still outside?
At this point, as you're all in the antechamber, you've all kind of joined.
Well, I was thinking Sally and Deep.
Yeah, Sally and Deep are with you.
Pyjack too, yeah.
Pyjack's with you, yeah.
We are locked into a path along the lines of fate.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot see beyond because we are literally on the road.
Isn't it exciting?
Yes.
Yes.
We need to pick a path.
And look at the doors.
They are all identical.
I don't want to split up.
We might not have a choice.
I don't mean to be overly mystical, since believe me, Jiren and Oberon, you appear to have this mystical philosophy spouting poetry bit down to a T. But there's 5 doors, and there's 5 of us who are, if you'll pardon me, my dear, sensitive to the Force, I believe is the way he's put it. Looking at these doors, do they look like they've been here forever, or do they look like...
They look like they've been here forever.
There's only 4 of us who are sensitive, though.
Mm-hmm.
Well, including Pyjack's been training us, maybe...
I'm not sensitive to the Force, I just know what my master taught me.
Yeah.
Alright then.
I think the door we choose is going to be the right door. And therefore, I'm going through that one. And I pick the second door.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who wants to come with me is fully welcome to.
I stand behind Jiren.
Okay.
With a confidence which only comes from being a little bit of an idiot, Jiren steps up to the door. Does the light go
Yeah,
push
travels
into
in.
it? Yeah.
Yes, there's a corridor, a stone corridor that leads straight on.
Are any of us getting other feelings towards any of the other doors?
Nope. None of you are feeling any form of call.
Lasser shrugs, sets a torch on, follows.
Off he goes.
Okay, so Jiren, Oberon and Lasser are heading down the second door. What about the rest of you?
Vitaara will be following them. So as a keen observer, I want to see what's about to happen.
And as you fall in line behind them, Deet walks to the door, looks up and down, realises there's no way he'll be able to fit in through there and goes,
I don't think I can come with you, I'm afraid, mistress.
You stay here, sweetie. We'll come back for you.
Oh, very good. I'll wait for a while, and if you're not back in... my internal chronometer's playing up. I'll give you till I've counted to 700, and then I'll tear the door down and come and find you.
Try not to do that.
Oh, I wouldn't want to destroy the artifacts. I will find a way.
Try not to destroy the artifacts. That is the thing to remember.
Yes, it is. I keep forgetting that. I'll just count to 700, then I'll work it out.
and he walks to the middle of the thing, drops down onto his haunches, and starts counting.
Agatha, following the principle of what you just said of not splitting up, looks to Pyjack for a minute and escorts him towards that door. Let's all to go together.
Okay, Pyjack falls in line, and you all head off down the same corridor. It's strange, it's a long corridor, and you know you're walking down. You walk down it for about 5 minutes, then for about 10 minutes, it just keeps going straight. 15 minutes, then you kind of look back and realise that the corridor has turned. You know, there's a corner behind you, and you kind of keep going forward. And then, Jiren, you turn around, and you're on your own.
Very funny, guys.
There's no one else there. You're just by yourself.
Well, I could go back and find them, but I've already been back there, Jiren thinks. I turn back round and I start walking along the corridor.
Okay.
Again, with the confidence of only somebody as reckless as Jiren.
Okay. The rest of you, you don't quite know when it happened, but suddenly Jiren's not there.
We've all noticed Jiren's not here, yes?
I thought it was quiet.
We do appear to have lost him. Not entirely certain how.
And as you're looking around for Jiren, you realise that Pyjack's gone as well.
And there goes Pyjack.
I just had him.
Yep. But as you turn to look for Jiren and took your eyes off him for a second, when you look back, he's gone.
I don't know what just happened.
We're in a mystic temple.
That's not a good explanation.
I think it's the most likely explanation.
That's still not a good explanation.
It's an excellent trap. Well done.
This feels like some kind of Jedi mind games.
Oh, I agree, it's certainly Jedi.
Shall we keep going?
Aye.
Shall I cover the back?
I don't think it matters. I reckon, if I had to place bets saying 10 credits, it'll be me, thee or he that goes first.
When I turn around, have we lost Agatha now?
No, you've lost everyone.
Oh.
You're in a room. There is 2 doorways out and a stone chair.
Very carefully examine the stone chair.
It's a stone chair. It doesn't look very comfortable. Looks like it's been here forever.
Is there anything written on it?
Nope.
And there's 2 doors.
You think you can hear Lasser and Agatha. You think you can hear their voices down the one on the right.
Very clearly state Oberon is in a room with a chair and 2 doors. Can anyone else hear me?
Lassa, Vitaara, Agatha, you hear Oberon's voice saying he's in a room with 2 doors and a chair, and it's coming from a doorway to your right that you're sure wasn't there a second ago, but is now.
Lassa follows the voice.
I think we should follow.
You walk down the corridor. It comes to a T-junction.
This is mystic structure. She kind of taps her foot. She's getting quite annoyed, almost confrontational with this temple.
As you tap your foot, the stone that you're standing on drops and carries you with it down.
Mystic!
As you look up, you can see the stone kind of closing above your head, and you fall into the darkness. Agatha, Vitaara, you have just seen Lassa stamp her foot petulantly, and then appears to have triggered some form of trapdoor. Now it's closed up again, you can't see the lines.
Oh, that is intriguing. Vitaara gets out some tools and starts trying to examine to see if she can find the trap mechanism.
Agatha's trying to work out whether this is a good moment to try and to put his vibro knuckles on and see whether he can smack the floor. But
well, as you kind of are thinking about that, and you kind of reach your hand to your pouch where they're kept and kind of look down, when you look up, Vitaara's gone. You're alone. You're in a big cave on the shores of an unlit sea of pitch black water. It's like a sandy shore. The sand is a whitish silver sand, and the water's just lapping at it.
this is very disconcerting. He looks around. Can you see a horizon?
No, just in a cave. Just a sea in a cave. Do you carry on putting on your vibro knuckles?
Yes, but primarily because it's making him feel better about you being prepared, even though there's absolutely no way he can be prepared for this.
You slip your vibro knuckles on, roll your shoulders back, I imagine, kind of get your muscles loosened up, and the sea boils up and crashes onto you. All this blackness. Jiren!
Hello.
You walk down a corridor and you find yourself in a huge circular room. There are pillars stretching floor to ceiling. They're like stalactites and stalagmites that have grown up and then met.
Yeah.
Festooned with strange crystals.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very dark in here, and you can hear the sounds of animals kind of flapping.
I'm not afraid of the dark. In fact, I'm quite good at seeing in the dark, so I'm not scared by this.
You can't see though.
I can see the stalagmites.
You can see the stalactites,
yeah.
but this isn't your dark vision that you can normally see.
Mm-hmm.
This is your normal eyesight. Your kind of subterranean chest vision hasn't kicked in.
Okay.
It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. The way Jiren sees this is if something weird is happening, he's on the right track. He's never really been afraid of things suddenly going wrong because he doesn't think that far ahead. Step into the cave and cautiously is probably the right word, but listen to everything. Be careful where he's stepping. Listen to the animals. Touch the stalagmite pillars.
As you touch the stalagmite pillar, the flapping of these winged animals becomes overwhelming, and you see descending from the ceiling almost like a whirlpool of flapping wings, like that scene in Batman Begins.
Yes.
Just sweep down you can't make out what they are, you just know that they're fast and they're dark and they have wings, and they overcome you.
Yes.
You fall into blackness.
Okay.
Oberon, you're standing in the room, you've shouted down the corridors.
I realise that there's not going to be a response after a couple of minutes. I look to both sides of the doors.
They appear identical, they've been here forever.
I shrug and sit on the chair and adopt the exact pose my father sits when he's sitting on his director's chair. Like, legs crossed, arms out, proper power pose, essentially. Give it a moment.
Darkness falls, swallows you. Lassa, you open your eyes, suddenly able to see, and you find yourself on board a familiar ship. It's strange, though. When you first look around, it's the Coldfire's Mercy, but then you blink, and it's the Witch, that comfortable old tramp freighter that you spent so many formative years, where you learned your trade, where you first really travelled the galaxy, where you first really felt at home. You look outside the window, and you recognise the crystalline structures of Alpinn outside, but a different Alpinn, before it's been ravaged by the Empire, when there's still mountains of crystal, forests of crystal. You're aware that there are other crew on here, but they're like shadows and smoke around you, wavering and indistinct. You head out down the gangplank and catch sight of your reflection for the first time, and again there's that dissonance, because though the eyes in the face that meet you or in your reflection are your eyes, you know, you always recognise your eyes, they are your eyes. The face is that of a male Twi'lek with deep blue skin. You step outside the ship and you make your way to the entrance, down through the tunnels to where this old temple is, and you find yourself standing again outside of the doors. Waiting outside those doors, though, is another familiar face. It's old Dougie, but he's not old. He's young, maybe 25 years young, before those lines have etched themselves into his face, before his skin has become permanently stained with oil and soot and other engineering effluvia. "Master," he says, and he nods his head to you. "We found the place you've been looking for. You don't know what's in here, but if it's something that can turn the war, then more power to you. Damn separatists." You can feel energy pulsing from this place like you were not able to when you first arrived here. Whoever you are now, your connection to the Force is so much stronger than Lass's. You can feel a web around you of energy, of life, of power, and you're in the centre of that web. And you can feel the vibrations as things pluck upon the fibres of that web. The energy here, though, is tainted. It's like a feverish heat, an infection. But at the same time, this is energy. It's just another power source. And it can be used. Because that's what power's for, it's what energy's for. It's to be used. And you know that if you can use this power as a battery, and you can turn that against the separatists, yeah, people will die because you're gonna use it as a weapon, because you're fighting a war, and that's what you do in a war. You make weapons and you kill your enemies. But it's only separatists. What you're doing for the good of the Republic. What do you do?
So I still have his emotions, or do I have my emotions mingling with these thoughts I have?
It's a mixture of both. The thoughts that you're feeling feel natural. They don't feel alien, they don't feel imposed upon you. But you're still Lassa at the same time. Not sure how to get the doors open yet, Master, though. But I swear it's in there. Never been led wrong yet, have I?
I think I know how to open the doors.
Well, that's why I called you, Master. This is what you do, innit?
It is. She walks forward and opens the doors because she needs to see what's on the other side. She needs to know. And she understands the reasoning of why this power should be used in this way. But she's more interested at the moment of just seeing it. And she'll work out what to do with it later. But just seeing this potential power source is what's driving her.
You put your hand on the doors, and it's a matter of seconds, just a few moments focus. It's nothing new to you. As you muster your energy, your power, and you push the doors open with your will, and they swing open so much more smoothly than they did when you gathered there as a group. You see the antechamber. This time there's only one door instead of the 5.
And I'm aware that there was 5 before, and this is 1.
Yeah.
There's a tiny part of her which is pure old-style Lassa before anything mystical, which is just going, I knew it. I knew it. It's changing for us. It's changing dependent on who's here. Little engineer's mind, quite interested in how on earth that works. Just goes through the door.
You go through the door, you walk through a short corridor, and you feel that taint, that infection is getting more and more powerful, more and more overwhelming. The Force, as you feel it, as you perceive it, feels sickly. It's not just the dark side of the Force, because you know the dark side of the Force. You've been trained to resist it your entire life, ever since you were taken into the temple. You know how to resist the wiles of the dark side, and you know the dangers of falling to the dark side. Of course you do. You're a Jedi, after all, and Jedi don't fall to the dark side. And there's that little bit of you that kind of goes, well, this is a weapon of the dark side. But if I'm wielding it, and I'm wielding it for right, surely that means it's okay. You come into a room, a vast chamber, and in the centre of this room is a pedestal. And on this pedestal is a half mask carved of bone, and that's what's radiating this energy. You know deep down that if you take this, that's it. No matter, your choice is made. You feel your destiny hanging on a knife edge here. Even if you just want to study it, as soon as you take this, you have made that choice. But think of the lives it could save. What do you do?
She edges up and she's really close to reaching out for it, because there's thoughts going through her head about, well, maybe I could purify it, maybe I could fix it, maybe it could be adapted, maybe there's all sorts of things going through her head about what it could be used for if it wasn't bad. Maybe there's a way of getting it right. As she's about to reach out and take it, a mechanical part of her mind just clicks and goes, you don't want to fix a ship with bad parts though? May as well get a brand new part. May as well build a new part yourself. No point using something that you don't know if it's going to work or not, about if it cuts out in the middle of space. Very logical thing going, just because it would work doesn't mean it should. Good or bad, there must be a different way for the same response. And she steps back for a moment, and for a moment just goes, no, this ain't right. None of this is right. It's broken. If we're broken and it's broken, I must be able to build something else. I must be able to make something else. Is there still a door?
Mm-hmm. And down the door you can see a corridor, and you see another door at the end of the corridor, and through that door you can see the antechamber and the big doors open and Dougie waiting for you outside, patiently.
Do I leave it here? Is it safe here? I don't know why they look at the area around them as though someone's supposed to go, yeah mate, it's fine, leave it here, it's groovy, we'll look after it. Is it? I don't think this is the right way. Takes one last look at it. Tries to remember every detail about what this feels like, the difference between how it feels and how other things felt before. Nope, I'm out with this. Nope, don't want none of this. Goes back through the door.
And as you go back through the door, you fall into blackness. Agatha, you open your eyes and all is thick, choking dust and smoke. There's the ringing in your ears that you get when explosions gone off nearby, and that muffling of all the sounds that comes with it. You can just about make out shapes in the clouds stumbling around you. Here, ruddy red light reflects off dirty white armour. There, the actinic brightness of a passing blaster bolt gleams off the metal frame of a battle droid. As your senses come back to you, you realise that you're down on one knee. Directly in front of you, water has puddled in a crater from a grenade, and you blink in confusion as you see your reflection, because although the eyes are yours, the face is that of a male Twi'lek with deep blue skin. You pull yourself to your feet, shake your head and roll your shoulders, settling again the weight of the laminate plates attached to your robes. With a gesture from your left hand, your lightsaber leaps into your grasp and ignites, the glare of the blade pushing back the swirling chaos. You step out of the cloud, taking down a handful of B1 battle droids by surprise, ending them with a few economical slices, focus locked on the hulking B2 RP rocket droid that's just unloaded at you and your squad. You can see fresh rockets locking into place on the launchers on its shoulders as it takes aim at the surviving members of your clone trooper squadron. You blink, and suddenly you're in the centre of an arena. The howls of battle are replaced by the baying of the crowd, and the B2 is now a hulking Wookiee, feral and roaring, fur hanging in unkempt matted locks, hands flexing. You blink again and you're back in the heat of the battle. Blink, arena. No matter how the landscape shifts, the threat remains. You can hear, even over the roar of everything else, your squad begging you to fall back and take cover, to regroup and reinforce, begging you to give them a chance to catch their breath and survive. But ahead of you, there's the Wookiee. You blink. The rocket droid. You blink. What do you do?
His knuckles sort of clench because he's buckling his fists together, but he's looking back to how familiar is the clone squad? Is he just simply...
How familiar is the clone squad?
Yeah.
They're your brothers. They've been assigned to you. They've fought with you ever since this conflict started. There's Pyjack and Domino. There's Dice and Lucky. There's Chip and Roll Call. They're the ones that you're pretty sure have survived anyway. You definitely know that Beef took one of the rockets because you can see bits of him scattered across the rocks nearby.
Agatha is pulling back to. He's following what his squadmates are saying. He's pulling back with them.
The Wookiee roars and begins to advance slightly.
It's a tactical retreat. I think he's still got the lightsaber up.
Yep.
But he's moving back towards his squad because they're begging for him. He's following them at this point.
Okay. You step backwards, keeping your eyes locked on the threat. Yeah, keeping your eyes, your vision, your gaze focused.
Yeah, watching for what he's stepping back into as well as what he's retreating against. He's aware of the threat, but keeping everyone around him safe is more important at this point to him than dealing with the threat that's right in front of him.
Okay. You step back. You blink. You're back in the arena. Behind you, you know there's the doorway that you can walk out of and end this match without having to go ahead. You blink. You're back on the battlefield. You can hear your squad trying to form around you as the smoke and cloud of dust and explosion smoke kind of still start to fill your gaze.
In the arena conflict, is it simply a door behind it, or are there squad equivalent to squad mates there? Or is it just the applause of the crowd?
It's just the applause of the crowd. It starts to die down a little bit as you back away.
There's two very different situations here. He's torn in both directions. In one of them, it's more clear that he needs to look after his squad. In the other one, it's just the crowd and he loves it. And he'd step forward in the arena. So he's going to blink and step back in one, blink and step forward in the other, because it's two different things.
Caught in the periphery.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're stuck there then? You're stuck, because for every step forward you take in the arena, you realise when you blink back to the battlefield that you step forward. And the cries of your squad start to increase. They need you.
It's not very comfortable right now. This is strange. What is it? Are his squadmates just retreating with someone, with injured parties trying to retreat and look
You're
after them?
not sure, you can't see them.
None of them are able to step forward and help to fight at all?
Not that you can see. No one's stepping out the swirling chaos. You know they're behind you and that they need you, but you can't at the moment see them. There's just too much blocking your vision.
It's a very emotional decision he's got to make here, because it's not something he can register, but the thing that's leaping out to me at the moment is he's going to have to step forward and deal with this threat, because none of his squadmates are jumping forward to deal with it. None of them are articulating how him coming back with them is better than dealing with this threat and then all leaving together. He's going to have to go forward and confront this thing head on. It's going to be there either way.
Okay. You kind of stop your retreat, square yourself, and charge. Blackness overtakes you. Daverin, you open your eyes and remove your hand from the bridge of your nose where you've been rubbing away your frustration. Around you is the fearful swell of conversation that seems to dominate diplomatic functions these days. And you can see from the body language of those around you they're not handling the pressure of this wall too well. Not really surprising. Politicos. You snatch a glass from a passing serving droid and stare into the bubbling liquid within, catching sight of your reflection. There's a moment of dissonance though, because though the eyes that are looking out are yours, the reflection is that of a Twi'lek, male with skin much deeper blue than yours. You kind of start briefly and shake your head and take another sip of your drink. It's sharp on your tongue, and suddenly you're on the bridge of the foolhardy gambit, drinking from an identical glass where your crew celebrates a successful haul. Again, over the sounds of the celebration there's an undertone of fear and something else, something you can't quite place. A laugh cuts through your reverie, the harsh laugh of someone desperately trying to find something funny when there's nothing really to laugh about. Your eyes are drawn to Senator Osko Parinji, a vocal coward and one of the many senators desperately trying to cut back Republic spending on the war. You're pretty sure they're in the pocket of the separatists, seeing how hard they're working to divert vital funds from the Grand Army. They wouldn't be so averse if it was their homeworld in the path of the droid forces. They're more than happy to let you and yours go out there and bleed for them. You get a twinge, a sudden kind of prickling in your laku that lets you know that something's about to happen, something pivotal. You lower the glass and look around and see that one of the serving droids is slowly moving up behind the senator. A limb has subtly extruded, tipped with a syringe filled with some form of chemical. You know that if he dies, the flow of money will start again. Your troops will get fed and equipped. You can take this fight back to the separatists and protect the Republic. You blink and you're once again back on the foolhardy gambit. Your first mate, Bosco, is toasting your success with an overflowing mug. Behind him you see one of your crew, a Rhodian who signed on some time ago, advancing towards Bosco with a drawn vibro knife. You know, somehow, that if you let him kill Bosco here, your past can be redone. You never have to go to Daxos, never have to be maimed, never have to be helpless. You blink, the party. You blink, the gambit. The Senator and Bosco are the same, both obstacles, both of which can be removed simply by you doing nothing. What do you do?
The past has happened. Bosco wasn't killed. And if this happened now, then whilst I would never go to Daxos, I would have never met Lassa and Oberon and Agatha. I would never have met Pyjack. I would never have pulled them out of that hellhole with all of us working together and got on the Coldfire's mercy. He would never have found the calling he has. And to be honest, he has never shied away from the mistakes he has made. He is not one to dwell on the misfortunes of his life. And let me take you back a few episodes, it's not important that he lost an arm. It's the fact that he is able to make a difference with his actions, not his lack of action. The glass goes to the floor, and he goes for the droid. He goes for the Rhodian, shouting a warning as he does so. There's no question that he wouldn't act, because the mistakes of his past are where he is today, and he is a better person today than he has been all of his life.
And as you drop your glass, as you shout your warning and leap forward, you fall into blackness. Oberon. You open your eyes slowly and you're immediately swamped by agony. You don't know how long you've been unconscious for, but you know it was too long. You drag yourself to your feet, glad that the blaster holes that riddle you have cauterized themselves, otherwise you would have bled out a long time ago. There's a moment of cognitive dissonance, for the hand you use to push yourself to your feet is not the grey-white skin that you expect, but beneath the dirt and blood it's a deep blue colour. You feel the weight of your Laku helping you find balance. Around you are the bodies of your squadron of clones, your brothers in arms who turned against you inexplicably, unexpectedly, calling you a monster, unleashing their wrath into your unsuspecting body. Only those heightened reflexes granted you by the Force allowed you to dodge enough to survive, and as you swung your lightsaber into those who were closer to you than your own family, cutting your way free, you felt nothing but an overwhelming rage. You stagger onwards into the chaos of the battle, your outrage at the injustice of it all keeping you moving. The Mercy's too far away, but there, just over that hill, shadowed by the smoking ruins of a spider tank, there's an empty shuttle. You can see the Jedi Master who landed in that craft on the other side of the battlefield, roughly the same distance away, dead. Their Padawan, another Twi'lek, is crawling towards the shuttle. You know the shuttle's only big enough for one of you, and whoever gets there first will survive. Surely the life of some Padawan trainee is not equal to that of a knight like you. You blink. You're hidden up a tree, concealed by thick leaves and thicker vines. The buzz in your ears now is that of insects, and the heat is the sticky humidity of a jungle. You face into a clearing, and in that clearing, crawling towards a raised plinth which marks freedom and the end of the hunt, is a Gran. Their left leg is badly wounded, their right leg is missing from the ankle down. You can see on the hood in your scope that the markers that are the rest of your family are moving into position. They've given you the glory of this kill, that snatching away of hope at the last moment. Do this and take your place in the family hierarchy properly. Surely some alien's life is not worthy of stopping you being a brick. You blink. The Padawan has inched that little bit closer. You blink. The Gran has dragged themselves almost in reach. You blink. Padawan. You blink. Gran. You know that, at this moment, they are both the same. All of your paths converging into one pivotal moment. What do you do?
So what's running through Oberon's head is, for a moment, there's an opportunity to change, and to change what happened at the carrion spike. He drops the rifle, throws it to one side, closes his eyes, and trusts that there is another way. It's not pragmatism, but it is justice. And there has to be another way. There's always another way. And he knows he's being funneled. He can see his family, and he can see the faces of his family telling him that there's only one choice. And moments of cruelty from his father and from his brother and from his sister, where he has been made explicit that they are only one thing to do, and that the universe is a harsh and cruel thing, and to fit in, you have to be that. And again, he blinks and he throws his weapon away, and he blinks and he throws his weapon away, and he looks to see what to do next, because it will be to survive, but not this way, not like that, not again.
You blink, darkness takes you. Jiren, Lassa, Oberon, Agatha, you all open your eyes, and you find yourself suspended in the air opposite one another at the cardinal points of a wide circular chamber, in the same arrangement that you used to get in to meditate at Pyjack's. The walls and the roof are cloaked in twisting shadows. In the centre of the room there is a small plinth, and on the plinth a bone-coloured half-mask bathed in a shaft of reddish light. There's a cloying feeling of oppression and despair in this room, pain and anger and betrayal. It smothers you like thick hot mud, and although you can't move, even through this fog you can feel each other, sense each other's moods. You cannot talk, but you can feel. How are you feeling at the moment? What sensations do the others detect from you?
Jiren arrives determined, I think is probably the best way of putting it, sure of himself. It's that same, Oberon will know this, it's that same confidence that always really comes from Jiren. He's not happy or gleeful or anything like that, but it's a very positive confidence in himself.
Lassa's very fixated on the mask in the centre, and you can feel a conflict about its destruction or not. There's a definite separation from this, and it's just with the artefact of going, is it right to break it? Should it be broken, or can we just leave it?
Agatha's trying to work out whether he's got the support of the rest of the three of you. His confidence is very much based on whether he's backing you guys up, whether you're backing him up, or whether you're separate or on just completely different agendas at the moment.
So there's a sense around Oberon that he's been in a rainstorm, and that rainstorm is a sense of shame about who he is and who he was, and that's broken, and now it's replaced with a determination and a sense of justice. There's an undertone of confusion because he doesn't know where to go next, and he always knows where he's heading, but he doesn't have a point to go. But he just knows that wherever he's going, it's the right place to go now. It's like a great weight has gone from him, though the weight is still behind him, but it's definitely just gone, if you see what I mean.
From in the darkness, you see sudden movement. A crack appears lit by pulsing crimson light, and a figure staggers into the room. They reel from side to side, limping and clearly in pain. Anguish and fury and agony radiate from them palpably. As they collapse to the floor, around halfway between the crack they entered from and the plinth, you can see they're a male Twi'lek, with deep blue skin, tattered Jedi robes, laminate armour plates punched through with what looks like blaster bolts. You can see through the holes in the robe and the armour, cauterized wounds that have been driven through him, and his right hand twitches uncontrollably into a claw. There's a racking sob, and he pulls himself back to his feet, slowly and painfully, takes a ragged breath, and staggers again towards the plinth. He slumps, one hand supporting himself as he stares down at the mask. The mask begins to pulse with a faint scarlet light, and as it does so, you see his jaw set, His eyes narrow and grow cold, and finally he speaks. Fine then. They want us to be monsters. Then let us be monsters! A lightsaber leaps into his left hand, glowing with a burning, cold blue blade. Slowly, carefully and with gritted teeth, he draws the blade up and he shaves the Leku off his head. Scorched stumps begin to pump out a thick black smoke as he drops a lightsaber to the ground. The other wounds on his body start pumping out more of this black smoke, hiding him from view in just a deep fog of shadow and pain. He collapses and the smoke follows, billowing around him. A hand thrusts out from the swirling miasma and grabs the mask, dragging it into the smoke, which begins to coalesce around him into long black robes. He stands to his feet, stronger now. His features are entirely hidden, his body behind the cloak of smoke and shadow, and his face behind the mask. And on the forehead of the mask, a sigil begins to shine with a sickly red light. A sigil in an ancient tongue. The number 10. You wake up. And that is the end of Chapter 2 of the Coldfire Chronicles. Well, I think it's safe to say that's been a ride. Thank you very, very much for coming on the journey with us. Thank you once again to Lou for voicing Vitaara.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Always lovely to have you here.
And we will see you for the table chat and debrief next time.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.